Well, the big story most of the summer has been a persistent heat dome. It's migrated around, but it's becoming a little bit more stable and anchored, as I'll be talking about in this week's weather briefing. So you can see the weather threat this week is going to be the southwest and the south central U.S., high risk for extreme heat. That's major to extreme, and that's a dangerous level of heat. Also want to point out the risk mainly today for some heavy downpours over the mid-Atlantic area, Washington, D.C., and some severe storms in part of the Great Lakes region as well. Now, as far as severe weather goes last week, around that ring of fire, take a look at this. We had hail, that's the orange, and we had lots of wind reports with these strong, powerful storms. They form with all the heat. Then they slide down to the southeast, so lots of severe weather reports. Some heavy downpours as well. This produced flash flooding. You know, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio have really been hit into the Appalachians as well. Also, the metro areas along the I-95 corridor, lots of flood reports last week, flash flooding. That's what we're seeing in this warming climate, can hold more moisture, and we've really seen that as well. So heat and severe weather, heavy downpours really through the month of August, started in July. And, you know, that's somewhat unusual for this time of year to have every week have so much action. So last week, the core of the hottest heat departures were over the south central U.S. into the southeast. This was above 110 degrees. The red, the brown above 100, 90s in yellow. Okay, so last week we did have some heavy rain in spots. I mentioned that. Here's that band of rain. Look at this. It sort of came down in this area, then it got into the Appalachians, also along the East Coast. Now, as far as rivers go, it's pretty quiet nationwide. I have a lot of low flows, but take a look at this area here. These are some higher flows, and that's somewhat, even though it caused a lot of flooding and flash flooding issues, there is a silver lining in that it's putting some water into the rivers that normally would be at very low flows. But other than that, lots of issues with heavy rain over parts of the eastern Midwest. Okay, so where that heat dome is, that's where we're going to have the hottest weather. And take a look at that. It just sits there. Doesn't move much. It's migrated. It was sort of in the east for a while. Now it's anchored over the southwest U.S. That area blue here, a little bit of a reprieve, summer reprieve in this region with that dip in the jet stream. So take a look at the temperatures here. Sure looks like a lot of red. You can see that reprieve over the Ohio River Valley, Great Lakes, but even that sort of goes away as we get into week 2. But the southwest U.S. and the western U.S. really looks hot. Take a look at Dallas here, 105 to 107, and Phoenix above 110 all week. So anything in the tropics to be concerned about? Well, not right now. There are a couple potential areas of development. They're also inhibiting factors, so I'm not overly worried about that, but there's a possibility that one could ramp up into a tropical storm. I'll keep an eye on it. Otherwise, it looks fairly quiet. Like I said, a couple of these areas of rain could produce some heavy downpours, but overall, a fairly quiet week. Southeast U.S., warm and muggy, daily afternoon and evening showers and storms. What about week 2? Well, here's week 2 over here. Look at that heat dome right in here. It stays anchored in that place for the next 2 weeks. Dry weather as well, many areas. This is the September forecast. Lots of hot weather continuing into September. There's your rainfall outlook. Anyway, like I said, this area of high pressure heat dome has been dominating the weather. I don't think we're going to have as much severe weather this week, but certainly many parts of this nation are going to be experiencing dangerous levels of heat and humidity. That's the forecast. Take care.